I'm with Manisha Koirala in Kathmandu in Nepal. Of course, everybody knows who Manisha Koirala is, so I'm not going to really introduce her. But you're so famous in India, and now you're back in Nepal. And just one other quick line of introduction. Manisha is the BP Koirala, former Democrat Prime Minister, one of Nepal's biggest, tallest leaders. She's BP Koirala's granddaughter. So Manisha, welcome to The Print.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So what are you doing? You're supposed to be in Mumbai. What are you doing back in Nepal?
I'm actually doing a very interesting project in Mumbai. But then these are very interesting times I felt in Nepal. And I just really had to be here. And
This is during the elections.
Yes. And there's this election happening, and also what's happened is it's been 30 years that a multi-party democratic system has been going on, but at the core of it, people are unhappy, and there has been consistently, I don't know what term you use, but the संस्थागत रूपमा भ्रष्टाचार बस्यो इट्स
संस्थागत की भ्रष्टाचार जो है सब जगह बसा हुआ है
हाँ संस्थागत हो गई है सो इट्स
इसमें संस्थागत हो गई कहाँ है भ्रष्टाचार
फ्रॉम इन नेपाल it's from top to bottom, they say. And whatever happens at the top, it trickles down at the bottom. So people are, we are like 3 crore population, and almost 50 to a crore lives abroad. They're migrated.
One crore people live abroad?
I think
out
so.
Of 3 crores, so 30% of your population lives abroad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they most of them, they are going abroad to work and fend for themselves, and because there's no jobs here. And the quality of life has been deteriorating. And there's a lot of unrest in people's mind. There's a lot of mistrust among the political class. And I feel overall the world is going through certain changes, certain polarities, and people are, there's a lot of things that is happening in the world itself. It's a pretty interesting time. There's a war happening at some part of the world, and it reflects, what's happening in ours. But
so you decided to take a break from the Mumbai film industry and come to Nepal to do what? To participate in the elections, to lobby for people who are fighting the elections. What are you doing exactly?
So I had to really ask a question to myself: do I really want to get involved? Then I just said no. It's I don't want to wait another 5 years, and I can't be 100% involved. Actively involved in politics at present.
Why? Because you're a film actress.
I have a job which is unfinished, and I need to finish that. My commitments have to be over. And
but you're not doing any films anymore right now, are you?
I am doing a couple of them. Okay. And it's very interesting. It's great working environment right now because of the boom of OTT platforms. So it's very interesting times. But here the election, I had to in some way be part of the change, and be the voice of the change that people are asking. And people are really, they want new faces. In our last, mayor's election, there's a new candidate, Valencia. He has won. There's another new candidate without any big party support. In Dharan, in Harksam, he has won. So it's like there are people who are coming forward independently and winning election because, by and large, public is fed up of the false promises and non-delivery of all that. So in my head, I thought, I can't get fully involved, but at least I can support right people, right candidates. And I know, as a mayor, Balin Shah can do great. But if there's an independent person in a Sansad, in a parliament, his voice will not be heard. So somehow it has to be a party where at least 5 to 10 candidates can raise the same voice, and they can talk about the issues that the voices of the people, the public.
आप कौन सी पार्टी को सपोर्ट कर रही हैं?
अभी तो मैं राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी है, RPP.
लेकिन ये तो प्रो राजा पार्टी है, प्रो मोनार्की पार्टी.
जी बिल्कुल है, और प्रो मोनार्की है, प्रो डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम है. अभी के इसके जो लीडर है, जो नए लिंक्डइन जो अभी आए हुए हैं, जो वो उनका मुझे देखिए, मुझे क्या लगता है, नेपाल हमारी ऐसा सोसाइटी है जो कि एक ओल्ड ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यूज़ भी है, or it wants to be modern as well. So the nice blend of older values and younger, the modernism should be blended together.
But are you saying that the king should come back to power in Nepal?
Back in any form. But I feel the way people were not taken into, people's choice was not taken into consideration. Through election or some format where it was clear, do people really want him out? I have not met people who really wanted,
what are you saying, that King Gyanendra should come back? Or Gyanendra, who's no longer king, he's a citizen like you.
Right.
Do you think he should come back and be king again?
I feel institution of monarchy is very much needed in a country like Nepal. But there's a parliament, there's a whole process of democratic thing. Everything should go in hand. Like before this constitution, we had a space for the traditional this thing and the modern thing. I'm saying they both should have a space.
So what would you do with the monarchy? He cannot be the Raja. Can he be the Raja again, or can he not? Or should he not?
No, not like the older days. Sure. But I'm sure there's some sort of a space there for the institution.
So something like say, like जैसे UK में है, जैसे Great Britain में है. Now you have King Charles.
Exactly. Similar to that, some sort of something like that.
So like a constitutional monarchy.
Exactly.
But a ceremonial job he would perform, or a function.
Because Nepalis are still very traditional-minded people. If you go there, there's this, there's a tika ceremony happening, there's this ceremony happening, that ceremony happening. It's not completely Western civilization. It is still very much rooted in its culture and its tradition.
उससे राजा के क्या लेना देना? You are a very traditional, a very.
आप देखिए ना, अगर राजा कहीं भी जाते हैं ना, लोग इकट्ठा हो जाते हैं. तो राजा के लिए लोगों के दिल में अभी भी उतना आदर और प्यार है. मतलब उस संस्था को अभी भी वो लोग जगह देते हैं. आदर करते हैं. तो फिर पॉलिटिकल क्लास को क्यों वो निभाए? ये पॉलिटिकल क्लास हैज़ टू रिप्रेजेंट पीपल्स वैल्यूज. They are not above people. Nobody is above what people want.
Absolutely not.
So why aren't they valuing what people want?
But there was a Jan Andolan in 2006. I covered it. I'm sure you followed it very closely from Mumbai. I don't know if you were here in Nepal or not.
Right.
तो जो Jan Andolan के जो values थे, people's values, egalitarian, everybody is equal, right? उस वक्त राजा was not equal. वो कहीं और थे. जो बाकी लोग थे वो उनके प्रजा थी.
Right.
They were not equal to the Raja. Today all Nepalis are equal.
Okay. Today you feel is lot people in Nepal are a lot more happier than they were before. You think so?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, you tell me, because you were there then, you are here now. So you tell me.
I think people do value the fact that they have an equal vote, equal to Manisha Koirala, equal to Shekhar Koirala, to Sher Bahadur Deuba, to Prachanda, to Baburam Bhattarai, to KP Oli.
Any society which doesn't have equality, humanity, protection for the weaker people is not a flourished society. I mean, where there's injustice, where there is dominance of whether it's power or any kind of a thing, is not a just society. Nothing can grow from there. But what I'm asking you, is that all there? Whatever the political class promised, have they really delivered? If they had delivered in last 30 years, people should be really applauding. Why people are fed up of the leaders? It's not me. Ask them.
So you think there's a vacuum, there's a political vacuum in the country?
I could be completely biased. I'm a human being. I have a certain way of looking at life. I have certain values and perspectives. It doesn't have to match with everybody's. So I could have flaws in my way of looking at things. Ask 100 people, ask 10 people, ask 20 people. What is the reason that they don't trust the political class? After all, they got what they wanted. They did Jan Andolan. They should be really happy. Nepal should be progressing. So something has misfired? Something has gone wrong? What is it? When you start dissecting it, looking at things in that perspective, you see when changes are really needed. If the changes happen in the right way, there's a progression. When there's a problem, there's a solution, and it's implemented, people are happy. But if you create a problem which was not there, and you still do changes according to your wish, and you think people will be happy, I think it's a lie from the beginning.
Do you think that you should not have had a Jan Andolan?
What I'm saying is whatever has happened, it should have given the fruit of that. Every action has a fruit, and you reach that goal, people should be happy with that goal.
And that hasn't happened.
If that hasn't happened, then something was wrong back then. Okay. And
so there is a vacuum today which you feel that a constitutional monarch can fill.
I feel there is a space for traditionally held certain institution which has worked for the unity of the nation, which represents a lot of people's belief, respect, that, as I said, nobody's above the people. The people's mandate should come the first, most important. You can't implement, you can't think just because I represent this and that. In today's world, there's a lot of facade, but at the core of it, I think most of the politicians are autocratic. More than the king, I'm sorry to say, it's like my way or a highway, but you're not above the public.
You feel that politicians are being more autocratic than the king?
I think they're intolerant. How can you just, put one section of the whole institution completely aside? How can you think that country and the people will be okay with that? Don't you think if such a major changes, people's consent should have been taken?
But I'm surprised that as, being BP Koirala's granddaughter, who was the tallest of Nepal's Democrats, not just Nepal, but in South Asia, I would say, you're in favor of bringing some sort of monarchy back.
Okay, I've read BP Ba's books, and not too many, 2 of them, which is, it's called Raja, Rashtriyata, something and something. Okay, I will bring that name out. Sure. And I have read his Atma Brittanta, which is his autobiography sort of a thing. He was too sick to write it. He has recorded it, and somebody else has written it for him. And also, I have grown up. I was way too young, when he passed away. But I've heard about him. I've seen him, and later on, I started understanding him. Per my knowledge, my grandfather he was a communist at some time. He was a revolutionary at some times. He was socialist at some times. And then when he understood Nepal's existential crisis, that there could be a crisis for Nepal, there's a consistent pressure. for Nepal. That's when he said it's really important for Nepal's age-old institution retain its space. And of course, a multi-party democratic system also is equally important to represent the common people's voice in the parliament. So I feel the mixture of that too was what BP professed towards latter in his life. And I'm just following BP Ba. I'm just following his ideology, which unfortunately, with today's leadership, for their own reasons, I'm sure you can ask them. They have better answers. I don't understand why. Because when you get into politics, it has to be for the nation. It has to be for the people. And maybe somewhere along the way, that vision of a nation, that vision for the people have been lost. And people are just fighting within party system, who becomes a prime minister, who becomes... And guess what? In last 30 years or so many years, no one government, no one party has, full term they've been able to do it. What is the reason? Every 1 year we have a new prime minister. Whether it's a 2/3 majority they bring in, whether it's a Mili-Juli Sarkar they bring in, what is the reason? After all, these are the people who are against the king. They are one group when it comes to the king. They are the one who supposedly have done the revolution. So how come they can't stick around and let the other run at least one full term?
You sound really fed up, even though you don't live in Nepal.
I mean, I had to take a call whether to be involved or not, and I can't be fully involved. So I said, okay, at least, for God's sake, I want to support some people who probably could do something,
So you're supporting Lingden, who's with the Rashtriya Swatantrata Party.
Rashtriya Prajatantra Party.
Sorry, Prajatantra.
And his speeches I've heard, I feel he has a lot of promises and he can deliver something. And we are hopeful that he should be able to deliver. And with the right people coming in parliament,
But what would you have them do, even if you have a few people who win? तो आप करना क्या चाहती हैं कि
क्या होता है ना, कुछ ज़्यादा करने की ज़रूरत नहीं, अवेयरनेस बहुत ज़रूरी होता है और थोड़ा सा दिलासा लोगों में होना चाहिए कि चलो एटलीस्ट कोई तो है संसद में हमारी बात कर रहा है, कोई तो है हमारे लिए लड़ रहा है, कोई तो है जो भ्रष्टाचार में डूबा हुआ नहीं है, जो स्वच्छ लगता है इंसान.
तो आप एंटी भ्रष्टाचार तो हैं, लेकिन आप प्रो मोनार्क हैं. ये जो इसका रास्ता जो आपने नापा, ये नहीं समझ आया. यू आर एंटी करप्शन फॉर श्योर.
मुझे लगता है एक जैसे आप कहीं भी, आप भूटान में भी देख लीजिए, आप कहीं भी देख लीजिए, एक ट्रेडिशनल जो कंट्री होता है उसके ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यूज होते हैं. देखिए, मैं कुछ भी पर्सनली कुछ भी विश्वास करूं, अगर मैं 10 लोगों को रिप्रेजेंट कर रही हूँ तो ये मेरा ड्यूटी है कि 10 लोगों का जो वैल्यूज़ है मैं उनको अपनाऊँ. उसमें मेरा फ्रीडम, पर्सनल फ्रीडम नहीं है कि मैं इसमें विश्वास करता हूँ तो आपका 10 लोगों का मतलब नहीं. फिर आप मुझे वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी 10 लोगों की लेनी चाहिए.
अच्छा, ज्ञानेंद्र तो बहुत ही खुश हो जाएंगे जब आपकी बात इस तरह की आप पब्लिकली बोल रहे हैं उनके बारे में.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I think I've always been vocal about it. I have always said this. This is not something new.
But the conditions under which Gyanendra became the Raja, जो massacre हुआ था 2001 में, I mean that's what 21 years ago. I'm not sure Nepal has still even recovered from the fact that the crown prince killed, the entire monarchy. मतलब अपनी माँ को मारा, बाप को मारा, पूरी जो भी सारे जो लोग उस दिन इकट्ठा हुए थे. And then he of course killed himself. So what kind of example is the monarchy setting?
I know. I mean, honestly, that's the most horrific incidents, and it's beyond any sane person's thinking, rationale. It has shaken everyone up, every Nepali up. And I think after that incident, Nepal has gone down and down and down, and conflict and mistrust and conflict and mistrust. And it has impacted us so badly. that even today I feel, I'm not comfortable talking about it. It hurts me even now. So obviously, it has impacted, and the impact we've not recovered. And so I agree with you, but at the same time, um, the thing is, so what are we left with? What are the choices have we left with? In that, when something happens to us, which is beyond imagination, we have to deal with life, and we have to move on with life with that scar in our soul. But we have to move on. And how do we move on? We need to choose the best possible ways that we can move.
So you're not supporting your cousin Shekhar Koirala, your first cousin, जो नेपाली कांग्रेस के बड़े जाने माने leader हैं?
I think he's a very good leader. My uncle Shashank Koirala is also there. My another aunt Sujata Koirala is also there. They all, in their own right, are popular and doing what they want to do. I am very close to my family. I hold the strongest family values. I have grown up in a joint family under Sushila Amma for many years. So I'm emotionally very attached to them. I love them. I respect them. But I think we all have to, some point of time, when we talk about the way we look at politics, the way I see Nepal, it could be different. As it doesn't matter. Our love and respect and our closeness doesn't get impacted if we see the world differently.
So last couple of questions, Manisha. In a sense, you are a bridge between India and Nepal. I mean, of course, it's a very, very old relationship, cultural, yes, religious, civilizational. No two countries could be closer.
Absolutely.
But yet, a lot of Indians feel that Nepalis don't like them. और ये हमेशा उनके जहन में ये सवाल होता है कि why is it that Nepalis don't like us?
Honestly, to me, whenever I speak here and whenever I give my example, that I have been loved with open arms, I have been accepted, I have been treated equal, and I've been given an opportunity, a platform to shine. And like I'm sure there'll be other people too. Maybe they don't come to in front of the media, or they're not so known. They're not into this field, but I'm sure it's there. And Nepal-India relation is beyond me. It was way beyond before me, and it'll remain way after me. This thing will always remain. The ties will always remain, and whatever misunderstanding there could be, I feel it's not permanent. Human minds are never permanent. First of all, we keep on changing.
But what is it? Because you think that Nepalis think Indians are arrogant? कि क्या सोचते हैं?
देखिए, मुझे तो ऐसा नहीं लगता है. मुझे नहीं लगता सब कुछ एक ही ब्रैकेट में देख के लोग देखते हैं कि ऐसा है, ये है, वो है. हाँ, 2-3 चीज़ें होती हैं जिसमें चुभता है. जैसे कि भूकंप जब आया था, तो भूकंप के दौरान जो थोड़ा सा मीडिया ने इनसेंसिटिव ढंग से बोल दिया कि जाके दिखा रहे, अच्छा ये देखिए, वो जो एक थोड़ा सा इनसेंसिटिव और मोर कमर्शलाइजेशन बट सेंसिटिविटी थोड़ा कम दिखा
कि भारत इतना कुछ कर रहा है नेपाल के लिए, वैसे
नहीं. वो जैसे आके किसी को पूछ रहे हैं, जिस ढंग से इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं, जिसका घर टूटा हुआ है, ऐसे 2-3 इंसिडेंट मैंने नेट ही में देखा था. मुझे लगा ये नहीं करना चाहिए था. इट्स
इंडियन जर्नलिस्ट आके इनसेंसिटिव तरीके से पूछ रहे हैं.
हाँ, ये थोड़ा सा मुझे लगा कि किसी का घर उजड़ गया है और आप उनसे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, तो थोड़ा रूठ जाएंगे. तो ऐसा शायद इनसेंसिटिव थोड़ा हुआ होगा, और मुझे लगता है कि दोनों तरह से होता है, दोनों तरफ से होता है. तो I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a permanent problem. There's never been a permanent problem. I have not seen it. I have neither seen it there in Bombay or Mumbai, India. I've been loved there completely, and I don't see that. I have so many of my Indian friends come here. They love being here. They've never had that problem. So जब मैं ये सुनती तो मैं then I start thinking ये अगर हो शायद उसके कारण हो सकता है, शायद इसके कारण हो सकता है. मुझे नहीं समझ में आता है. मैं आपको शायद में ही आंसर कर सकती हूँ.
Do you think कि people to people कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, but it's you think कि शायद political parties या political leadership ही इस तरीके से उसको
वो होता होगा, वो भी उनके स्तर में उनके लेवल में होता होगा. मुझे तो नहीं लगता है कभी भी. आई थिंक यहाँ पे हिंदी म्यूजिक इतना हिंदी फिल्म इतनी पॉपुलर हैं, सब कल्चर्स
आपकी वजह से टू अ लार्ज एक्सटेंट.
जी नहीं, मैं हिंदी फिल्मों की दीवानी थी, मेरी पूरी फैमिली हिंदी फिल्मों की दीवानी थे. मैं फिल्मों में आने से पहले तो मेरी वजह से कुछ नहीं, इससे बहुत पहले तो मेरी दादी फिल्में देखती थी, उनकी वजह से मैं फिल्मों में लगी हूँ. तो मतलब कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं. मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही प्यार है और रिस्पेक्ट है और रिलेशन बहुत अच्छा है. कभी इधर उधर थोड़ा बहुत देखिए, हर एक रिलेशन में ऊपर नीचे आता ही है. हस्बैंड वाइफ झगड़ा करते हैं, भाई बहन झगड़ा करते हैं. मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा वाइडर पर्सपेक्टिव हमको होना चाहिए, लॉन्ग रेंज पर्सपेक्टिव. और हमारा भूगोल जुड़ा हुआ है, हम लोग कहीं एक दूसरे के बगैर कहीं नहीं जा सकते. सो यू नो इट्स टेम्पररी. इवन इफ देयर वाज एन इशू, आई थिंक इट वुड बी टेम्पररी. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Manisha. You can see that when she smiles, the whole world melts. I mean, clearly, it's one of the most beautiful smiles. But thank you so much for your time, for explaining why you're so fed up with the Nepali political class, and the fact that you want some sort of the monarchy back. I'm not so sure I agree with you, but having said that,
it's fair. It's this is, I love this conversation because we don't have to. We can agree to disagree. We just have to respect each other's perspective. That's all. Yeah.
thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.